You're listening to a community story from Be My Eyes.
Hi, my name is David Green, and I am 59 years old. I work for Lighthouse, Louisiana, and I have a disease called retinitis pigmentosa. About 17 years ago, I lost my sight. About 2 or 3 years ago, I met a friend through a support group that I attend monthly. And what they do, they come in and they'll give us different apps and ideas that support people who are blind with their daily activities. And one of the apps that was mentioned was Be My Eyes. A lot of them seems to be slow in taking action about that particular app. But me, I was excited. I like the words, Be My Eyes. I'm like, hey, that would be a great thing to have some more eyes. So I went home, I downloaded the app, and from that moment on, that one piece of the puzzle that I had been missing for all those years has now been found. It just opened up a whole nother world. I mean, it helps me with my daily and my nightly activities. You know, I'm able to find things. I'm able to navigate in situations that I wouldn't be able to do myself. And it's just a variety of things that Be My Eyes has really done for me.
And David even said that he found this shirt just a few minutes ago using the Be My Eyes app.
Right.
So he uses it every day.
Yes.
And I'm Lizzie. I'm 26 years old. I live in New Orleans, Louisiana, but I'm originally from Alabama. And I found out about Be My Eyes through a friend who posted about it after having a good experience. So I decided to sign up and start using the app. Actually, my first and only call that I've done to this day was with David. So I had a great success rate in making a friend through the app.
Yeah, so one day I made a call to Be My Eyes because that particular day there was a storm heading towards New Orleans, where I live in New Orleans, and we experience hurricanes pretty often. So I needed to get some clothes together. My wife, she had to work, and when she got off of work, we would have to immediately evacuate. So I needed to get my clothes and call Be My Eyes, and that's when Lizzie answered. And I started going through my closet and a lot of my clothing and looking for particular shirts and pants, and she was very helpful. She was very on it. She was attentive, you know, and really was willing to help me get these items. So as I was completing the effort to get my clothing, I mentioned to her that I lived in New Orleans, and right then and there she was like, wow, I live in New Orleans too. I'm like, really? This is the first time ever for me. I mentioned that to her, and she told me that she had evacuated, and I went on and started talking and told her what area I lived in. And when I mentioned that to her, she said, I live in that area as well. So I say, oh no. And she said, oh yeah. And we found out where each other live. And I mean, we share one waterway she was on one side of the bayou, I'm on the other side.
Like half a mile away from each other.
Yes. So I went on and started talking to her, and I told her that I am the director and coach of a monthly tandem bike ride where we take people who are blind out riding once a month on tandem bike. So she was interested in it, and she asked how she could get involved and how could she be a part of it, and we exchanged contact information, and from there is our history. Right, Lizzie?
Yeah. I think from my perspective, my mind was just blown, and the fact that I was paired with someone who literally was in my backyard just really blew my mind, and it was one of those really small world moments. And honestly, it just seemed like fate.
Yeah. Yes.
that we were meant to meet each other. So, yeah, I'm just so grateful to Be My Eyes for having an app, but also just for, I don't know, finding a way to pair me with David. And when David mentioned that he did the tandem bike ride program, I'd never heard of it. So I was immediately interested in getting involved. And David gave me his phone number right there on the spot, and I texted him, and he just let me know when the next ride was. So yeah, it's just a crazy story, and it's made me a big advocate for Be My Eyes, and I've told tons of friends about it because I've had such a good experience on the app.
Yeah, so the first time we got together for the tandem bike ride, give you a little information about the tandem bike ride. What I do is probably 2 weeks prior to the ride, I'll call pilots, which would be the person that would be doing the steering for the person who is blind that rides in the seat that's directly behind the pilot. So yeah, I'll recruit pilots, I'll recruit stokers, and we'll meet up at a location. And once we get at the location, we will start preparing for the ride. So a little work with the ride. We have waivers, and we have fruits and snacks and helmets and vests we have to get out, get to the riders. And just to mention, that first ride when Lizzie did come to be a pilot, she was a really big help, helping me to organize the ride. So once the ride starts, I'll give an overview of some of the responsibilities of a pilot and the responsibility of a stoker, which one of the responsibilities is once we onboard the bike, the pilot becomes a sighted guide. So as Lizzie approached and came to the ride, I ride with the person that's maybe first time pilot. I'll ride with them just to kind of give them the details as we ride. So I felt really confident having her since she has been my eyes before.
I'd ridden a tandem bike when I was younger, and I hadn't ridden in years, though, on a tandem. So David piloted me and just really showed me the ropes. I piloted him, but he truly piloted me, is what I say. And he just showed me, how to board the bike, how to stop correctly, how to give cues and describe the scenery and things like that. And it was just super helpful to have him be my stoker the first time that I piloted. And I actually just did my second ride a couple weeks ago and just felt much more confident on the bike that time around because of all of David's tips. But it's such a fun ride. It's such a fun program. And I've really enjoyed getting to meet other people through the ride. And again, just so grateful to David for inviting me and the loop there to help out. It's been a lot of fun.
Our relationship since meeting with the tandem bike ride and having the conversation over the phone has really been a good experience. Since then we have befriended one another. We have really become, a part of each other's life and sharing what we do and some of the events and activities that I participate in. I share with her, and she definitely has been interested and supportive to all these wonderful things. And I'm just happy, to have met, a person of her character. And the big picture of it all is, since that has happened, I have been able to share my story with other people who are blind, and people I know and people that I don't know, just to let them know how instrumental the Be My Eyes can actually be in their lives. And since then, they have actually downloaded the app, they have used the app, and really, their life has changed just as mine has changed. So my hat goes off to Be My Eyes. I'm so happy. This is a life changer for me and for many other people.
I think to reiterate, what David was saying, I feel so excited about learning more about Lighthouse Louisiana through David and the other initiatives that he works on in the city. It's really expanded my network to meet David and to, meet his connections. I see him around town sometimes. I saw him on the tandem bike with another person the other day, just biking around in my neighborhood. So it's fun to just see him around town. And I am just anxiously awaiting my next call from Be My Eyes, and excited to get connected with more people through the app. But also just, again, so grateful that I've met David, and that we can continue to be friends, and that I can participate in his program. So.
Thank you for listening to this community story from Be My Eyes. You can share your story too. Send it to mystory@bemyeyes.com. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, download our app, or visit bemyeyes.com/community-stories for more.